Get ready to play hardball in the Kingdome.
Take me to the ball game. I want to see the Ants. The Mariners are playing hardball. Did it again and again and again. Did it again.
Princess Tours, the vacation company, brings you the best show in baseball when the San Diego Chicken plays hardball with the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles tonight in the Kingdome.
Randy Johnson and Ichiro. It's like two ships in the night because they never played together.
I guess I shouldn't have thought this, but I wasn't picturing Ichiro in his uniform during the picture. But yeah, it's spring training and Ichiro's in his uniform. I mean,
I don't know if Ichiro has any other clothes. I remember back in the day when Ichiro pulled up on the scene, and he was already wearing that 51. I think the modern Mariners fan is always going to think of 51 as Ichiro's. Randy Johnson went into the Hall of Fame as a Diamondback, so as far as I'm concerned, that 51 is Ichiro.
yeah, I mean, I personally would like to see them retire Randy's 51 as well. He did a lot for us, and I hope someday the Mariners do retire Randy Johnson's 51.
Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast.
We have the one and only Mr. Tom Hutler. Do you have any of your favorite stories from the Kingdome?
There was a time we had an earthquake, and so they were going to evacuate the building. So I was like getting up to go leave. They go, "No, you can't go. You got to read these safety things." It's like,
do we need to tell them that there's smoking's only on the exterior ramp?
Yeah. And Dave came shooting past. He signed off. I'm going, wait, I'm the only one here.
Listen and subscribe to Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast, wherever you get your podcast.
Hannah, he was saying on here, he thinks his theory was Luke Raley is going to be the odd man out if we were to go and get a left-handed first baseman. And I think it's starting to kind of come to fruition. We didn't see him once in Anaheim. I didn't even see him in the dugout. I was sitting 5 rows behind it.
Yeah, we're warming up. Being there for 2 games and being there a little bit early to see that. Didn't even see him anywhere.
There were 2 games where there's right-handed pitching. There was pitching changes, matchup changes. We did not see Luke Raley. We didn't even see him as a defensive replacement. Kind of weird.
You got to believe that's probably one of the pieces that we're having conversations with teams for a trade.
I would think so, because you look at Canzone and what he's done since he's come up. You can't deny what he's doing. But are you already ready to move on from Luke Raley for Dom Canzone as your right fielder? My question, I guess, is like, are we committing to Dom Canzone that much? All right, Hannah, we have made it to trade deadline eve by the time this recording's going out, or by the time we actually get going here tonight. We're officially on deadline eve. It just worked out perfect. It was kind of
we're working the night shift tonight.
It's kind of like, are we going to do another episode tomorrow? And you're like, well, now we don't really have to unless something happens, and we'll pop on here. We're nice little bridge episode. Actually, though, I do want people to go check out. There is one that I just put out. You don't even know about it. I recorded it last week with the Ninja, and we recorded down at Tacos and Tequila, but it basically just turned into this love letter to Eugenio Suárez. No stats, just all feelings. Just kind of, I guess, equating it to a romantic comedy where, the one gets away, you did somebody wrong, now you're trying to get him back, but it's going to cost you. That's basically what the episode is. And on one of the little breaks, I'll play like a little excerpt. But as we're going on here, one of the big questions we've been wondering is, how come Luke Raley hasn't been playing? And today would have marked, I believe, 6 games in a row We've speculated about it. Nobody's really seemed to ask about it in the media until now. They asked him on this post game of this the second game here in the A's series. Apparently, he's going to the IL, and you were wondering what was going to happen because you were on top of that. Locklear was headed down to Sacramento from Tacoma, so we were wondering what was going to happen. Was it going to be Solano going to be gone? Is it going to be Luke getting traded? Was Demo getting DFA'd or traded? We didn't know. Now we kind of know. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, kind of a weird deal. I mean, they waited so long, nobody knew about it. Everybody was assuming they were just holding him out to be traded. I think, but just a weird situation. And hearing Dan in the post game show after as I was driving home, he kind of was not that committed to his answer as well. At least that's how I took it. So just a weird deal.
Yeah, yeah, it was. It took him a little bit too long, I felt like, to get to the answer. It seemed like kind of like like Dan Wilson was slowing down his checks of like, listen, I'm a good, honest man, and God, this is the first time this is the first time I'm having to cover for some bullshit, but I know that hey, it's good for business. You see these injuries all the time in sports. They won't give you any real reason why. Like I think they asked him too. They pressed down. They said, well, when did this happen? Did this happen in Anaheim? And he was like, I don't know. It seemed like it took forever for him to answer that. And that's fine. I would guess Luke Raley's just the guy that I really feel like when he's playing at his best, we saw what he could do last year, especially how instrumental he is to the team, just because he can play infield. He can play, he can play first base when needed. You don't need him as much now, but you would think defensively and how many like pitching changes and different matchups we saw through the last week, you'd at least see him. Me and CJ were kind of going, man, we were around the team pretty close, a few rows back for a couple of days. I don't even think I saw Luke Raley. I wasn't really looking for him until I realized he was gone or he's missing. So I don't know. I'm with you. It just seems there's other things going on, but also he's a valuable piece that any team would probably want in a trade.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, they said it was his back. He tweaked it. Maybe they were just holding on for a while so they didn't have to put him on the IL. Maybe he was a guy that, that they could have traded. He's a major league player that teams would want, that we have on our lineup that would be, or on our team that would be available. So just makes sense. And then this to happen the way Dan answered it when they said it had happened in Anaheim. He kind of was like, sure, yeah. He just wasn't very straightforward. I don't know. It's just kind of hokey, the whole situation. But good for Tyler Locklear. Gives him an opportunity to get back up here.
Yeah, he was the player of the week last year, or player of the month, right? Or something, player of the world. He's been killing it down in Tacoma. He's another one of these guys that's like, constant at-bats is what he needs. Is he going to get it in Seattle? You wonder, because maybe he could get some DH spots, or maybe he could play first base and you could give Naylor some DH swings, give Polanco a little bit of time off, because Polanco has been playing in second base quite a bit. So you wonder how his wear and tear is. And you need another bat from the right side. We saw all weekend, we didn't really have too much of a situation like you did in Anaheim, where you had a lot of pitching changes here in the start of this Oakland series. But there was lots of times where, you're going down to the bench. Let's go back to Sunday's game. Who's coming to pinch hit? Demo? You're not using him. They're using him more than they're using Solano. So you really are missing a right-handed bat off the bench. As far as the right-handed starters, the main guys, yeah, you have your Julios, Randy Arozarena, Cal when he's from the right side, Polo when he's from the right side, and then down at the end of the bench, you're either having Cole Young go up against a lefty in a spot that's not too great for him, or you're going to Demo and you're almost like, I'd rather just have Cole Young go for it.
Yeah, I mean, Demo is just totally struggling now. Not now, he has been, but yeah, I know we talked, and I was trying to figure out what makes sense. Who's the guy to go? Demo, all he really brings you is, pinch running right now. He's not that valuable up at the plate. One thing is, though, is he's about the only guy I think that can play shortstop if JP was to get hurt or give him a day off. So, it's playing roster roulette, trying to think what's going to happen. It's been kind of fun, but things are kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're cloudy out there, yeah, or whatever. He's not sure.
Yeah, listen, you bring up a good point though about Demo. Who else is going to play shortstop? Demo. That's it. But that's a good little segue here to what we want to talk about is, okay, these are three guys that may or may not be on the team. I'd say one of those three are probably on the team by Friday. But possibility, all three of those guys could be gone. Rayleigh through trade, Solano through trade, or maybe even DFA. And I would say same thing for Demo. Demo probably between him and Solano, maybe Demo might be more attractive to a team despite what he's doing at the plate right now, just because he can play all those positions. And, Solano, he's going to be looking anywhere for, he's at best a backup bat off the bench. It's just weird to me that they didn't at least use him in a couple of situations. But then, yes, you were going to have to make like a double switch. Like you said, if you don't have another shortstop, you can't have him pinch hit for a middle infielder, because then where are you going to put him? Right. You lose two guys. You can't pitch hit Garver when Cal Raleigh's catching, because you do need a backup catcher for an emergency situation. So yeah, a right-handed depth bat is something you probably want to get. Maybe somebody that does the same thing as Demo or similar. And let's start right there. He's right there on our list. And here we go. Let's talk about him. Whoop, no, not that one yet. That's a
good one, though.
Okay, we'll go back over there. Here we go. Oh, I put it in the background. Okay, there he is. It's Willie Castro. Okay. Willie Castro, we know him from playing Detroit and playing Minnesota a lot. You hear the name a lot. He is what Demo is. He's a career 250 hitter. In the last handful of years, he's been a regular, fixture on both of those teams, getting like 130 games out of the year. His splits aren't all that good, but he had a good start to the season. Right now, he's hitting just about 200 in the last month, which is nothing to brag about. But as far as an upgrade from Demo, yeah, that's a big one. Here you go. How about that? Yeah. Nice. There's Castro, number 50 for the Twins. What do you know a little bit about Willie Castro? If you know anything, I'll pull up some of his stats and we can take a look.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a name. I mean, I don't have too much to say. I'm just going to go out and say, if we don't get Eugenio, this is the type of guy that I would like to see part of a trade have been brought back to Seattle, probably with their pitchers who you're going to talk about at some point. So that's just kind of my feeling. He's a kind of a backup to Eugenio as far as my liking.
I can agree with that. I feel like this is somebody maybe I'd kick the tires on instead of Demo. I mean, he plays everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to where maybe you could do this with or without the Eugenio, because this guy plays second base. He plays left field. He plays right field. Let me share it with you right here. But he's somebody that's going to go somewhere. That's for sure. But this is his last year of his contract, so I think he's maybe $2 more million. Look, hitting 252 this year. Is that up there on the screen? There you go. Willie Castro. He's got 10 jacks, 27 RBIs, OPS of 761. Like I said, his splits in the last 7 games, not too great. 143. Last 15 games, 183. Last 30 games, 193. Let's see where these strikeouts are at. Strikeouts are kind of high. But he is doing what you'd be accepting from Demo if he was doing it. If he was hitting around like, 230 to 255, playing good defense, being able to give guys days off. But then again, at the end of the day, if you were DFAing Demo, you're eating the rest of that contract, which is probably what he's probably owed a couple $1 million, and you'd be paying $2 more million of Castro. So it is a bit of a bump. And we know that, we're on a shoestring budget. Well, they are saying that the Mariners are going to spend more money. So maybe this is one of their scenarios where like, listen, Castro's an upgrade for our team and also the payroll in a Mariners way. So this is why this guy seems pretty realistic for this team and for the deadline.
No, I hear what you're saying. Absolutely. I just took him more as a pivot guy. If other things don't happen, I never thought about him being also acquired, even if we did pick up Eugenio. Yeah, he can play all over. I just thought it was more of a backup plan to go get him if we couldn't get Eugenio, and he can play all those positions, like you mentioned, substitute in and out with Ben Williamson. So if the Mariners were to pull off multiple trades like that, personally, it would surprise me. But, yeah, great player.
Well, the Mariners got a lot of cards to make a lot of moves. You wonder what this would cost you. I wouldn't think it would be very much at all. But as far as games by position, second base, 41 games, third base, 13 games, shortstop, 5 games. He's played in left field 36 times, center field once, right field 31 times.
Yeah.
So he's all over the diamond. He's also probably 4 years younger than Demo. And again, I'm going to go over and look at his contract. But I believe his contract is, let's see. Is that up there on the screen? So this year he's making about 6.5. Unrestricted free agent next year. So you're probably paying what? About but yeah, like you said, this is definitely be a pivoting move. And that's might possibly be what's going on when you have all of these teams in on Eugenio.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
including the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah,
who almost merchandise.
I know. Ooh, he was lucky it didn't look too good, did it?
No, could you imagine if you were the Tigers GM? Coach being like, what the fuck are you doing out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Somebody was trying to say that it was a good because it was going to lower his value. And I was like, I don't think it would. I think it would just it would lower his value as far as like maybe it just wouldn't happen. If he was out, nothing would happen. Everybody would just have to pivot and Arizona kind of would be stuck holding the bag, maybe try to like re-sign him, right? I don't feel like him getting hit in the hand is really, and if he's okay and things are negative and he's back on the field, I wonder if he's going to get back on the field to show that before a team trades for him, or do you think maybe he sits?
Well, that was my next question to ask you. I didn't look yet today, but I could totally see them not playing him up until the deadline, just to protect him from maybe getting injured and ruining a trade for Arizona. So everything was negative, MRIs, X-rays, so he's okay. But yeah, is he good enough to have the chance of having him get hit again or doing something? That's what my thoughts were.
As far as pivoting, there is reports. I could read them to you, but basically people are saying, and he has a no trade clause, but this is another third baseman, somebody we kind of talked about in the preseason, and that's Nolan Arenado. Did I say his name right finally? I'm starting to be able to say his name right, so maybe we should get him on the team. That was my only issue with him. And look at this. Plan B, Nolan Arenado. I'm going to go look up his contract as far as what he's doing. It's not what you're usually accustomed to seeing what he's doing. And I think this guy is around like a $20 million a year guy. And I believe there's some years left on there, but he is a great player. What would be your thoughts about Nolan Arenado?
Absolutely. I mean, I would surprise me, like you mentioned, with a contract in years, but I'm all for improving, I like Ben Williamson, but if we can improve, let's improve. That's just my feelings on it. So he's not quite the player he used to be, but he really hasn't been in the playoffs in a situation his whole career either. So it might be a good fit with the Mariners, and so I definitely would like him.
He does have a no trade clause. I think I mentioned that. And as far as this year, like, look, this isn't the kind of season you want to see from him. Hitting 235, only 10 home runs. His RBIs are in the 40s. Not great. But, again, change of scenery for one of these veterans that's been doing it for a long time. You never know what you're going to get out of him. As far as that contract, maybe it's a situation where maybe they're eating some of it.
Yeah.
We've seen that with big contracts, but yeah, I was right. He's about 20. Whoa. It is a big contract. It's $21 million. So you're paying the remainder of that for this season. Then you can see 16 and 15. So you'd be $33 million if you're bringing him in. Not astronomically crazy, but that's quite a bit of payroll. But think about this, you are subtracting from that we were talking about. Let me pull this down. As well, that we were talking about with the Minnesota Twins were the two arms. And for me, maybe that might be my next move. I look at this team and I know that we're coming off of a couple of games where we're in a stretch that they're not hitting very good. But you look at that lineup and you look at Crawford at the top, Julio, Cal, Randy, Naylor, Polanco. You're going, well, this team should be producing more than they are. But they're not. So you definitely, there's not enough evidence to go, we have enough offense, but I still feel like we're going back to last, and your biggest concern, you felt a little bit better when we got Yimi Garcia. He got hurt. I think this year they need to go out and do the same thing, but maybe double up, get two of them.
Absolutely. One is fine, but two is better. Right now, you could see even lately, Matt Brash and Munoz haven't been as sharp as they usually are. But who do you really have besides those two? Sure, Spire's been really good. But it'd be nice to have at least one guy that you feel comfortable that could bridge the gap from like Spire in the 6th to somebody in the 7th or what have you up to Brash and Munoz. And then you don't have to go to the same guys every single night down that stretch here when they're tight ball games that the Mariners are going to be in. So absolutely, if they were able to get those two guys from Minnesota, that'd be outstanding and such a huge lift for this team and makes them a legit World Series contender.
Are you talking about these guys right here?
Yeah.
59, 27, Duran and Jax. Yeah, and what would be great, yes, you would have club control over these guys through the 2027 season. So that would probably cost you a little bit more because of the control. But if you were to add a Duran and you add Jax to Brash and Munoz, and then you have Spire just for your specialists, and then you have these young guys too that the Mariners have that have seemed to come into their own more this year. But do you trust them down the stretch? They've never thrown this far. I'm specifically talking about Vargas. Early on in the season, he just seemed like just lights out. But you can also see that there's some adjusting that he's got to do right now. You're seeing people miss their spots in the bullpen. The bullpen just hasn't been consistent. They've kind of been on the same wavelength as the starting pitchers have this year, where it kind of seems good stretches, and then there's some inconsistent stretches, but that the talent's there.
Yeah, Vargas has been awesome for us this year. Surprised to even make the team, but early on in the year, I mean, he's been fantastic. As of late, I just don't know if I can trust him because he's kind of all over the place, and he might not get a strike from him, and he could walk guys. And you just can't have that late in games, as we know, and we see when guys get walked, it's a pretty good chance they're going to score. So you just can't have that in those type of situations, especially in the playoffs, but even down the stretch to hopefully get there. But I do like him.
Yeah, and then another guy that you just have to go, man, feel great for him is Bizzardo. I mean, this was the human white flag, up by 5, down by 5 in the ninth. That's the only time you're really seeing him in huge situations. I was somewhere where the volume was down this past weekend. Maybe it was Thursday's game. I don't know. It was, or maybe it was last week. And I just screamed as loud as I could. I scared everybody that was at this sports bar because they had the music down. One Bizzardo, I think it was the game that we walked it off in the extra innings, and Bizzardo had the hold. And you're going to Bizzardo, at the top of the 10th. You're going to him at the 8th. You're going to him at the 7th. You've seen him in these situations that you're like, all right, and he is coming through, but you wonder how long that's going to be happening because. And I'm not trying to just put that out there that I don't trust the guy, but I'm also going just like Vargas, where you're going, they're not, they haven't been through the wars and haven't put in the innings like Matt Brash and Munoz have in high leverage situations. Because let's not forget, before they were in those situations, they were backing up Seawald. So, I mean, they've been doing this for 3 solid seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had guys, remember, a couple of years ago, Steckenrider, Topa maybe is an option from Minnesota, guys that we could really count on. And we definitely, I think most Mariner fans would agree, we need somebody like that again to add to this bullpen.
Well, let's just take a look really quick. Let's just take a little glance. Let's look under the sheet at Duran. We've seen him. Probably seen him in person pitch. Look, ERA right at 2. How many appearances? He's been in 49 games this year, 16 saves, 49 innings, 53 strikeouts. Last 7 games. It seems like a lot of pitchers. I'm not going to really grade you on your last games around and after the All-Star game. It seems like a lot of closers and relief pitchers about this time of year have a few choppy games out there. But this is somebody that you would trust. What are you doing with this guy? Well, he also can also close a game when you have to go to Munoz 2 days in a row. And the way the Mariners play close games and the way that we really can't trust the offense, this would be so helpful to Andres Munoz. He's got a big guy, 6'5", 230.
Yeah, it's a nice insurance, going in for Munoz and Brash, and it would be awesome. I mean, even besides those 2 guys, if we were able to pull off one of the biggest heists ever, what if we, they added their starter too? His name's escaping my memory right now, but he's a good player too. Going 3 pitchers on one team, the highest, that would be crazy.
Yeah, I wonder what the Twins are trying to do. They're a team that's been to the playoffs a million more times than us, but we probably have about one less loss than them in the last 20 years, or one less win, which is 0.
Yeah.
I think they have like 1 or 2. But as far as that starting pitcher, I think he's driving my name. It's driving me crazy too.
Me too. I know exactly who it is. He was an all-star. He's really good. Oh, someone in the chat room, can they help us out?
Well, the other reliever, though, I do know his name, and his name is Griffen Jax. That's the other guy.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Out there. And we're acting like they're going to be a combo coming together. But actually isn't the case, but that would be ideal. That would be I feel like a heist to grab both of these guys, because even with the way the Mariners offense is right now, even though, yes, I do feel like a big bat is needed, and case in point, what we've seen the last couple of days, but getting these bullpen arms is probably my next move, especially if you could add 2 people like this to the team. Let me pull up Jax.
And the name that escaped me was Joe Ryan.
Oh, yes. Let me ask you this. Do you think the Mariners need to go out and get another starter? Or do you just kind of want to roll the dice here every 5th game? Or do you feel like we don't have the runway to do that? And what have you heard about Miller?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, you got Miller, but if somehow you could do that, I mean, I'm being greedy here. And our staff has not been what we expected them to be this year or anything like they were last year. I don't know. It'd be like I said, it would be a gift, and he's someone that could really, help him out.
Let's take a look at Griffen Jax here. It's up there on the screen, I believe. Games, just about as many innings, but look at those strikeouts. I mean, this is a big swing and miss guy. 46 innings pitched, 72 strikeouts. This would be more of like even though he's a bit older, different, this would be he would be in your Matt Brash kind of situation, right? This is going to be your 7th, 8th inning, maybe, depending on if there are no arms available. He might be a de facto closer, I would assume, but it seems like a setup.
Absolutely. Having him, I mean, as we know, bullpens win and lose games for you in the playoffs, and a lot of the times they're determined by that. If you could have the best bullpen going in the playoffs, I mean, it'd be a huge advantage, especially with our starters. Have them go their typical 5 and then be able to stack all those guys up together. It'd be a really, really nice thing to have. Did we lose you here, Myron?
Well, that was an internet issue. Damn.
It wasn't too long.
Oh, it wasn't? Well, I just killed the viewership. So those of you that have, oh God, thank you. I think I was left off talking about Griffen Jax. I'm actually running the internet off my phone right now. Looks like we got some of the viewership back. Sorry about that. I think I was talking about Jax. Was that the last thing I was saying? Where I just He's obviously not a closer. What I was getting around to by just looking him up. As far as the bullpen guys around the league, that's just something that I feel like I've done the homework on here in the last day or so. And Griffen Jax, that situation where I said 7th, 8th inning. Anyways, moving on from Griffen Jax, I was trying to let's see. This things are getting screwy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here, but your internet is awful.
It's something going on with the out, but I am running off my phone, so I'm just doing the best I can. Anyway,
Right.
Jax. Okay, I'm gonna go a quick break, and we'll finish this. We'll go to this show up. I want to talk about one that if I had a big swing and miss a big swing, who I keep back.
Myron compared Gino to that ex that got away that you just want to reconcile with and say you're sorry.
Yeah, no, it is. Gino Suárez is like the one you did wrong, and you know you need him back. You know you need him long term, but it's going to cost you. We're making some sacrifices in this scenario. Probably sacrificing some higher end prospects than you would for a rental, but you know what you're getting from him. You've also heard him say some of his heart's in Seattle, but he's also got to, you think, feel a little bit. Now, hold on a second. You got rid of me. Jerry DePoto, if I was Gino, I'd be like, I want you to sing Baby Come Back, make a TikTok video, flash mob me, you singing that, change the words to Gino Come Back. You could blame it all on me. I was wrong, and I just can't live without you. I don't know, maybe I should just go to AI and make up the rom-com with Eugenio Suárez in the Mariners front office.
Send him a cheese and meat basket.
All right, I think our internet problems are I think out of the way.
Good.
My internet's not going, and I had to turn it all the way off so it would run off my phone. Anyways, we're done talking about Griffen Jax, right?
Thank God. I mean, usually I could freaking fake it till I make it, but I have no idea what we were going into on this show tonight like I normally would, so I just sit there and just wait for you to come back.
Well, one of the big names that we have on the front of this that we're linked to, we obviously Gino. If you want our thoughts on Gino, then you should have been listening to our show for all this time. If you haven't, of course, we love this guy. Of course, we blame the organization for doing that. Of course, we hate that they gave that money to Mitch Garver instead. We know we want him back. But just, I would say, brace yourself for disappointment on that. The Mariners are going to pivot. And maybe if they pivoted, here's somebody else. Let's just say Arizona. Like, we're restructuring a lot that we're trying to do. And maybe we have seen people that have signed contracts and extensions get moved this year. Let's talk about Devers. Well, that was a different kind of situation. But let's just be hypothetical here. We don't necessarily just have to get this offense for third base. You've seen what Ben Williams has done. You moving something around there, Hannah?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh. We've seen what Ben Williamson has done defensively, especially of late. There was a nice little Twitter X exchange about, you told me about Ben Williamson saying, like, there's something moving around. Ben Williamson playing defense this week. People have been going like, well, I don't know. Maybe we should just stick with him. I mean, is Gino going to do that? And yes, run prevention is very important. It's something that and we should all hold dearly when we're talking about the Mariners offense, just like the pitching. But where do you fall on that debate if we do not get Gino? Are you trying to go to second base? Are you trying to go to right field? Where else can we get to the offense? And then I'll drop this name on you.
I mean, I just want to improve the team any way we can. I mean, I like Ben Williams, and we could roll with him, but why wouldn't you want to try to improve that position? He's done an admirable job over there, with not knowing even that he was going to be available this year for you. We had Polanco starting the season out there. He was a bust, and you happen to have this guy in the minor leagues that has played defense so well, saved you so many runs, and was able to spray the ball around the field to look somewhat respectable. Sure, he's not a big-time guy up at the plate that, can win games for you, have a lot of slug, but that's okay. As far as if I had a random name, I wouldn't mind. I don't know if anybody's talked about this, but I wouldn't mind the Mariners calling Atlanta to see if they give a huge package for Austin Riley. That's my guy.
I was looking up at Austin Riley. Man, that guy's owed a lot of money. But
yeah, I know.
But your third base of the future would be him. And you're right. And you locked up at a price, and maybe he outplays that contract. He makes about the same amount of money, I think, of Julio or Luis Castillo does, or Cal. I think it's up in the 20s, and it is for a while. I do like that name. Here's a name with a big contract I'm thinking about. Maybe we don't go at third base. Maybe you go at second base. Maybe we bring back a former Mariner, Ketel Marte. That's a name that I was like, whoa, what if you put together this big ass package and you just say, fuck it, and you unload the farm on Arizona, who we have a great trading relationship with. So what would you think about Ketel Marte? I think I already know the answer, but I just want to hear it.
Yeah, that's a great pivot move, I mean, it would make it so much better if you were able to get both, but just one guy. Yeah, I definitely would take that. It would be a lot like Gino. If you were to get both, two guys that were sent away by Jerry that come back, but just one of them would be nice. Yeah, he would help out your team immensely. I mean, all-star. Yeah, why wouldn't you want to have him?
Yeah, and the thing about Ketel Marte, actually, if I could pick between the two, I might take Ketel Marte. He's locked up. But you also have a lot of middle infielders coming through the pipeline. You also have Cole Young up here. I get it. But you could improve at that spot. Second base, when you look around the league, there's not a lot of people. You don't even see any on any of the lists. It's usually just somebody like a Willie Castro that that plays defense that can play second base. So, the market for a second baseman isn't there. And speaking of second baseman, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the loss of Ryan Sandberg, Hall of Fame second baseman. If you don't know who the Rhino is, you go do your history. I mean, this is one of the guys that you'd always want to get in the baseball cards. When you thought of the Cubs from back in the day, you always thought of him. You thought of him, the Hawk, Mark Grace, Sean Dunston. What are your thoughts on? Yeah, what are your thoughts on the passing of Sandberg?
I was really, really young watching him. That was kind of when I started watching baseball. What I remember so much about him was he was the best second baseman in baseball for many years. The thing of what it was defensively as well as offensively, but especially defensively, he made every routine play. Just a phenomenal player from the state of Washington, out of Spokane. It's so sad, just young guy, 65, passing. I mean, I watched a lot of the Hall of Fame things, and I've seen him year after year after year, and now you start noticing guys not there like Ricky and him, and it's so unfortunate. Just absolutely beloved in Chicago, and his teammates loved him. Really sad to see. I know I'm getting older when people start passing away like this. It's too bad. So a loss for baseball, that's for sure.
You lost 3 Hall of Famers that we know. Maybe I'm even missing somebody, but like 3 that are from our era of growing up with put into the Hall of Fame. At least he got to know he was going into the Hall of, I guess, at the least. It just sucks that he didn't get to go there and do that. But if you look at Ryan Sandberg, look at this. And also when you're looking him up, millennials that are listening, or it's not millennials, sorry, Gen Zers that listen, it's RYNE Sandberg. But look, 68 WAR through his career, over 8,300 at bats, had a 285 average, 282 home runs at second base, over 23, almost 2,400 hits. And yeah, the defense, just all around rounded player, 7 Silver Sluggers. He also won the Home Run Derby. He also was an MVP, 10-time Gold Glover. 9-time Gold Glover, 10-time Player of the Year. So
a second baseman through the years, it was Joe Morgan, the Big Red Machine at second, and then Ryan Sandberg, just dominated that decade for a long time. And you're right, all the Silver Sluggers, he kind of helped transition the position as far as power. Just an outstanding player.
Yeah, Ryan Sandberg and Robbie Alomar are probably I would say, the best 2 second basemen that we saw when we were kids. Saw much more of Robbie Alomar, but those are 2. It was like he basically handed the torch to Alomar. I would think.
Totally agree. Yeah.
That's the. Hey, I got a couple comments I want to get to, and then we'll get out of here. But you also sent me something that I was like, "Oh my God!" Tell me about this awkward situation that happened down in San Francisco. Is it the Giants?
Yeah, the Giants and Buster Posey. They were calling somebody up, and the guy that they were releasing for the guy that was getting called up, they invited his family, the guy that was getting released, to the game, and didn't get this young player's family to the game, and they released their son, and he was released. So the kid that was making his debut didn't get his family to be there, and the kid that got released, they called his family and had them come. What a big mistake that was.
My God. Oh my God. Imagine who make that phone call. And I mean, first of all, I feel terrible for the parents, terrible for the kid. And the guy got released. It wasn't like no, he's not debuted today. He's also fired, you know. It's just God. I feel worse for the parent, the guy who got, I don't know. It's both
Made his
bad.
debut? Yeah.
Yeah. The one that made his debut, I mean, if he ends up having a great career, yeah. Either way, you're screwed. I mean, well, think about what if you made a debut during the pandemic season? Maybe your parents didn't get to go. But the whole calling the wrong person, I mean, somebody's got to be fired over that, you'd think.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Another
That's
thing
the bonehead play of the week for sure.
Here's a couple of comments that we had, and this was on Luke Raley, if he's being traded Seattle to add more offense. We had I knew it. Mariners need to focus on building the bullpen. The Mariners bullpen is not good enough to get outs in the playoffs. Brash and Munoz are elite, but the others are average at best. A couple years ago, the Mariners, the Mariners, not hot, cut off. The Mariners had one of the best bullpens in the league. DePoto traded away Seawald and never built back the bullpen way back up since. It was proven to be a guy that just doesn't see the importance of building up a bullpen. DePoto is not going to lead this team to a World Series. He just doesn't see the talent the way a GM or president needs to. Eesh.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of our. And then the other comment. Let's see, we got another one. Somebody else was saying that Rayleigh is too similar to Raleigh. I think Vlad was saying that too. It's too confusing. So they got to get rid of Rayleigh. Up that name so many times doing this, and I used to mess it up when we used to have Raleigh. We had Fraley, and then I was calling him we were calling him Raleigh forever, and then Rayleigh. Yeah, it's too much. No, definitely on the tongue. It's not fun. Another person about Demo said, how's Demo even on the MLB roster, let alone the Mariners? DePorto sucks ass. And that was from AZ9025. We had another one from I knew it. The Mariners oh no, we read that one. He doubled down on the bullpen. But love the name, love your guys' intro. That's from Bug vs Windshield. We also have one from him saying, fun show. My grandpa and I would watch a lot of M's games together. Got trivia question. Back in the early days, the Mariners was the shit. There was a good player. I don't know what the rest of this says. Anyways, just wanted to get to a couple little comments. I didn't get to all of them tonight, but we're running out of time here. It's getting late. It is officially deadline eve. I know there's people on here. We can go back to the beginning of this episode. We got to get some rest, and I think we covered just about everything. We still haven't talked about Ichiro and the Hall of Fame. And I don't mean to not do that. We talked a little bit on the last one, but we also want to just dedicate a whole show to that, or at least half an hour once we get through all of this bullshit and all the speculation that may or may not happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely lots more to talk about. You know, you mentioned about the right-handed bats. I've got a couple other ideas that I think maybe the Mariners are up to. We got tomorrow to definitely talk about it. But do you think the Mariners pull the trigger and something happens tomorrow, or are we going to have to wait till Thursday?
I think a lot of it's going to happen Thursday. I think maybe we'll start seeing Penn and maybe some of the smaller pieces. Like maybe the Mariners add something smaller. Maybe somebody that, like we said, you're basically replacing one of the backup outfield positions because there are reports that I've read where Victor Robles is hitting. I watched the video of him hitting in the cage, and I guess he's with the team right now in Sacramento. I guess he's throwing the ball about 120 feet, but still, you've got to imagine he's still 4-6 weeks out to being major league ready. And how effective are you? There's no like getting through it like it's April or May and working through it. You have to perform right now, playoff running down the stretch. Sure, he'd be on the base pass, and hopefully we can get him back. But I think you have to get somebody with a right-handed bat to be in the outfield, some of the time. I've even talked about names like Andrew McCutchen. I've thinking about anybody that pretty much is on a contract year that is going to be able to step into a platoon role, a rotational role, and be okay with it and be effective. I definitely think that's something that needs to happen. And maybe we see that and maybe an arm tomorrow or today. And then maybe anything that's going to be big. I would imagine anything big is going to be right at the buzzer. That's just that's on it. I don't think it's like the regular offseason free agencies in like football or basketball where you see these big names go and then the market goes, where it's kind of like there's one person it seems like available. Who'd thought Eugenio Suárez was going to be? I mean, not to knock him at all either. It's just crazy. It's just a crazy scenario that this is the guy this is it. Last year we had the best available. There were bigger names available that just didn't move. And last year we ended up getting the best offensive piece in my book in Randy Rosarate. And he's paid off now.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 straight 2020 seasons. Just he's been magnificent, just spectacular for this team. And I was going to bring up too, we talk so much about Minnesota players. I mean, you're talking about a right-hander. There is a possibility of getting Harrison Bader from them. He's an outfielder, right-hand hitter. He gets shipped around all the time, so that's just another possibility if you're looking for a lower-tier guy. But there's going to be so many things happening and wheeling and dealing here. I think it's going to get really busy tomorrow, but I agree with you. The big stuff's going to happen Thursday.
Yeah, and Minnesota's a team that you might completely look different. And they've kind of been in that, we might win the Central, we might slip it in the wild card, middle of the pack. They're the Seattleers, but they actually have the playoff appearances, partly because of the division they've played in the last decade or so versus our division. Over the last decade, certain years, second, the Central was better. But for the most part, we can agree it's been the weaker division.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we've had multiple World Series people in our division. You've had the Astros empire and whatever Texas is doing. And you kind of also have to, every decade, the A's just come out of the woodwork with people that they end up trading away. But for a couple of years, they beat the shit out of you. So, yeah, I think it's going to be the opposite, where the big name now, since is going, and maybe he doesn't even get moved. I would just be really surprised if Arizona doesn't move him. But he has been pretty effusive about, like, he likes Arizona. Maybe they picked up his option. I mean, they obviously love this guy. And so I mean, there's that. There's the trust with it, where all the other teams that he's played for, they've traded him away. So
yeah, but he's got so many teams out there want him, and if he likes Arizona so much, they could trade him and then he could re-sign back there. If they were not to do it because he likes it so much, I think that's just stupid management, in my opinion.
What if he was like, let's see what we're going to do. We're going to trade you somewhere. We're going to trade you one of the teams that burned you, and you're going to go there, perform great, make them want you, and then just be like, no, you had your chance. I'm going back. People that love me. I guess that would be the end. Sad romantic comedy that I was just showing. Well, anyways, like, go and check that out. It's an episode called the Love Letter to Eugenio. It's called the Eugenio Suárez Love Letter. It's already out on the podcast end. We'll put it out here on YouTube. Kind of got things backwards because that one was in the can. And to be honest with you, a lot of that episode was about Josh Naylor and what we were going to do at first base. But I will gladly take that episode and throw it in the trash to already have Josh Naylor. Real quick, Josh Naylor, I think we saw him crack a little bit of a smile at the end of the second game, but Really enjoy this guy. Love the gloves. We've been texting about him. He's just got that blue collar baller fucking mentality that we like.
Absolutely, a little chip on his shoulder, and he's all business. He just wants to win. Definitely a different vibe for what we've had for the Mariners, and I think he's going to help them quite a bit.
Yeah, great footwork at first base, as well as, watching him up at the plate. Yeah, definitely somebody that's not going to. They're like, he doesn't ever strike out. He struck out like 4 times this weekend, but
A couple times a night. Yeah, it's just the Mariners. That's how it goes.
Mariners is like, don't listen to nothing they got to tell you about it. Like, wait till Edgar's here. No, Edgar's off at the Hall of Fame, so maybe that's what we can blame some of this. He'll be meeting up with them. But yeah, I got a good chance, like I talked about on the last episode, of watching Naylor, and yeah, he is all business. Hopefully, when they get to Seattle, my one thing is I do like when players, when they like, even go back to Carlos Santana, he still had his Royals glove. We saw Randy still have some of his Tampa Bay stuff. Listen, I'm okay with that. With the, it's kind of like tattoos or just scars that you take with you. But we got to get rid of this Arizona snake belt. I just don't.
Oh, you don't like it?
No. Good God, no. We got to get him a new belt. I do like his colorful shoes. Everybody wears different color shoes, but I love how he has the gloves in the back pocket, or sometimes he goes up and his pocket's hanging out. He doesn't care. He's a ball player. He gets dirty. I mean, he already set a record with 4 steals in 4 games. I mean, that's a trivia that people are going to get wrong in years all the time.
I mean, the way we played, everybody looked the same and had the same belts. I used to have a big problem with, guys would have just like 6 different belts out there, and it used to bug me, but it is what it is. I don't care anymore. I'm not being such a, I don't know. So that's why it doesn't bother me as much, because it's just gotten out of control. Guys are wearing yellow belts, blue belts, purple belts. It doesn't even matter,
And I'm fine with that colored belt, and I'm fine. But once he gets, and we've been on a road trip, but once we get back to Seattle, I hope there's just a nice belt waiting for him when he walks in and sees his locker. Be like, we'll put him in every color. We're just not going to have him in like snake skin looking things. But and they said he's been warming up, and doesn't that suck? You guys get swept. Your team gets swept. You don't know what's going on. You fly all the way to Pittsburgh. Then they trade you. Imagine if you just traded him a day earlier. He just had a nice little fucking 90-minute Southwest flight. 50-minute flight into Orange County. Instead, no, he flew all the way out to Pittsburgh, had to fly all the way back. But also here in Oakland, I guess he has family in the 2 people in the A's organization. So there's people there in checking him out. Anyways, we're gone way. Go ahead. You have something else?
I was going to keep it going. I know you want to get out of here, but I was thinking, you ever think about these guys like Naylor, like he gets a phone call, he sees who it is, he goes, oh, that's the GM, or that's my agent, I'm definitely getting traded. And then, before you answer it, you're like, God, I wonder where it is. And then you're told. I mean, just think about going through that and then letting your family know, and then you're on a flight the next hour or the next morning. I mean, it's a crazy deal.
Yeah, and I feel like, I think he knew. I think a lot of these guys must know. I mean, their agents got to hit them up. They're probably constantly talking to the GM. But the trade deadline comes right after the draft. So I bet it's one of these things where maybe you don't have as much communication with the front office during that time of being like, well, am I getting traded? Am I not?
Or if you're in the middle of a game and it happens, you see that happen as well. I mean, it's wild to think about to me.
That happened in between a doubleheader today with Baltimore and Toronto. And we've seen it where teams swap players. It's happened to the Mariners multiple times. It happened with the Ichiro and the Yankees.
Yeah, the Hall of Famer. Yeah.
It happened with when we made the trade. What was that relief pitcher that we should have?
Kendall
Graveman. That was the Astros were in town.
For Toro,
we were like 4 games behind them, trailing them, and winning a series. Yeah, and that was bad. But this was in between a doubleheader, so that's different but weird in the same way.
Yeah.
The bullpens I saw, they were stacked up on top of each other. Now he was upstairs in the other bullpen.
Yeah.
Weird as all hell. But yeah, I think we got everything except for the Ichiro stuff and the Hall of Fame stuff, and we'll talk
And the Bryce Harper stuff too.
Oh yes, that's
Let's
one
do
thing.
that tomorrow.
Yeah, because that's going to affect. They're saying a lot
Yes.
of decision making of going, well, so what if we have club control? And some people are like, we could be like, hey, the strike's not going to happen or the lockout's going to happen, but they're far, far apart because of the possibility of a salary cap being on the table. And that's never really been seriously on the table. And now it is. And so this could be disastrous as far as what I'm hearing. Is that what you're hearing?
Yeah, I mean, an absolute disaster. I mean, it could be after next year, that season could definitely be in jeopardy for sure.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like some players are going to be needing to maybe save some money. So if they're looking for some shirts, some sports shirts, if you look right down below here, we have. I'm going to put this up first. I don't have it. If you're looking for the rye bread gear, you want that street cred for rocking the rye bread, hit up at simply.cora on Instagram or Etsy for all your rye bread and mustard pod street cred apparel. That's right. At simply.cora. As you can see here on our ticker, though, you can visit also In the Clutch Apparel, intheclutchapparel.com. Use promo code rye bread mustard, all one word, and also make Pioneers and Tacos your pregame sports cantina destination located at 1021 Occidental Avenue South in Seattle. That's all the street cleaning, so all my room cleaning, street cleaning. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we got some good news. We also can maybe talk a little bit about baseball. These games are kind of weird because you're kind of like, yeah, they count. They definitely count. They're definitely huge, but you're like, I didn't even give a shit that they lost this second game. I'm like, I'm getting ready to do a show. I'm reading, and I'm reading up on it. And a lot of players, especially bubble players, and a lot of people play stiff and weird right now because they don't know what happens, and then everything seems to kind of go back to normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one thing we know in about 24 hours or so, we'll know who's all going to Seafair Weekend up there in Seattle to see the Blue Angels and who ain't. Anyways, with that being said, Hanno, you know what time it is. God bless the Mariners. Please get a Eugenio Suárez. Oh, Jhoan